afternoon, everyone. Welcome to, I'm sure, an event you're all excited by, the announcement of the ballot. Obviously, circumstances in many ways have overtaken us, and we're going to explain a bit of that. With me now is Tony Kearns, our Senior Deputy General Secretary. Welcome, Tony. Yes. So we're going to hear in a few moments from Dave Ward and Terry Pullinger, and you're going to get the ballot results. But I suppose, really, Tony, it's like a little bit of context. I mean, you've been, for the union, heading up our response to the coronavirus situation, and I mean, it's added to your undoubtedly heavy workload, isn't it, already?
It has that, but you know, we're here to serve the members, and we're here to make sure that the members get represented. So all the plans we're putting in place to ensure that the CW continues to operate in some form or other, with as the effects of this pandemic, if you like, work its way through society, and the consequences of that, we have to find a way of making sure that the CW continues to operate and continues to represent our members, and that's what we're working on 24/7 almost. Yeah,
and I think, I mean, you put out a note earlier on, and we put it on our social media channels, and I suppose it's that reassurance to our members that whatever happens in this headquarters, because we you've rightly pointed out, we need to protect the staff here at CWHQ. We will be servicing our members for this period, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We're ordering extra equipment. We're making sure that key people who have to work from home are able to continue to to access and carry out the work that they would do if they were in this building. So yeah, all our attentions, if you like, are in terms of developing and implementing a plan very quickly. That we're in a position to make sure that our reps can contact us, and we're still able to, if you like, represent our members and engage with the employer as undoubtedly we're going to have to through this crisis.
One of the things that doesn't get said a lot, and I know Dave and Terry have been really keen to emphasise this to our branches, is your department, given the challenge in the High Court last time and the way that Royal Mail have conducted themselves, have been really full on with the legal work. I mean, give the members an insight into some of that.
Yeah, well, that's it's not, if you like, the most exciting subject in the world. I mean, you've seen it, and we've seen it. The book we carry around with ourselves is inches thick about the law that we have to comply with. And in that regard, this sort of ballot process has been an exercise in legal technicalities like no other. It's almost like every single thing we've put out, every single letter, every single communication, the wording of the ballot paper, the sample ballot papers that have to go to the employer, we're double, triple checked, quadruple checked almost with the employer this time, because we wanted to make sure that all those messages, didn't fall foul of some of the injunctions that we were hearing against us in the last 18 months.
Well, I think it's right. I mean, I think Dave and Terry were saying the same thing, to say thanks, Tony, to you and your department. And now we're going to move on to the ballot announcement, if I can do that. So we just turn the camera around, and I'll introduce you to our leadership: Terry Pullinger, Deputy General Secretary on your left, Dave Ward, General Secretary in the centre, and Rosie Phillips, who's here to sign for us today. Need no introduction. But what's going to happen is Dave's going to give the ballot result and then make a statement, and then Terry's going to make a statement, and then we're going to take a sense check on where you are and any questions that I'm seeing coming up online, and perhaps we'll have a little bit of back and forth. But without any further ado, Dave Ward, General Secretary.
Hi everybody. The first result I'm going to read out is the main ballot involving the dispute about honouring the Four Pillars Agreement. There were 111,553 people who were entitled to vote. The number of votes that were cast in the ballot was 70,717, so that's a 63.4% turnout. The votes that were cast were as follows. Those voting yes was 66,771. That's a 94.5% yes vote. Those voting no was 3,903. That's a 5.5% no vote. So an excellent vote there, and we thank you for that. The second ballot I'm going to read out is the one involving our parcel force members. And that's about the position of Royal Mail wanting to create a separate company and trooping our members across. The number of individuals who were entitled to vote in that ballot was 4,417. The number of individuals who cast their votes in that ballot was 2,262. And the votes cast as a percentage of the individuals entitled to vote was 51.2%. The result of the vote was those voting yes, 2,159, which is a 95.4 yes vote. Those voting no, 103, which is a 4.6% no vote. So another great vote for the union and its membership in that ballot as well.
Dave, I'm going to ask you to make a short statement and then Terry to follow that.
Yeah, so look, what me and Terry want to talk to you about now is how we're going to deal with this dispute, whilst at the same time recognising the reality of the coronavirus crisis, which, when we embarked on this ballot just 2 weeks ago, the landscape for our members, for the country, and for the business was very different to what it is today. So we have been exchanging correspondence with the company in the last week. And we made a proposal to Royal Mail last Friday, which would address the coronavirus crisis pandemic, would also address Royal Mail's position on executive action, the prospect of us taking any strike action, and also create a process for talks to resolve the dispute. Essentially what we're saying is that it is not the right moment for us at this particular point to take industrial action. And we want to prioritise the health and safety of our members. We want to make sure that we can talk about the use of Royal Mail and its infrastructure as almost another emergency service in the coming weeks. And I think that there are plenty of things that the company and us jointly with the workforce could do together to really help the country. Like, for example, making sure that we contact people who are in self-isolation, considering how we can perhaps deliver vital medicines to people, and even looking at collecting and delivering to those who need it, food bank parcels. So, this is a moment where we have to act in a very responsible way. We're equally clear that the company has to stop the executive action that it's taking, and that's part of the proposal that we've made to the company. So that's the situation that we're in at the moment. We're meeting Royal Mail and the Chief Executive of Royal Mail tomorrow, and we hope to be able to give you an update of that position and whether or not they accept our proposal. We're also releasing a press release today where we are saying that we're going to act in a responsible way, that we recognise this is a moment of unprecedented times really for the whole of the country, and we want to play our part in that as well. So the union is acting in a very responsible way. We hope Royal Mail will do likewise. We know at the moment that they're not at that point with executive action, but we also want to be in a position where we can help the whole country.
Terry Pullinger.
Well, I want to start by saying how proud I am of our members. What an excellent ballot result that is when you consider that we've conducted that ballot over a shorter period, 2 weeks. 2 weeks that have arguably changed the world. A lot of our members who could have voted could be caught up abroad or caught up in all sorts of situations. And I think, bearing in mind that most people struggle with the anti-trade union law and the 50% threshold, I think it's an amazing result. And especially when Royal Mail, I would suggest, has spent unprecedented amounts of money on communicating with our members and upping their game to try and match the way we engage our members. So I think there's no question that the dispute and the position of the people who work for Royal Mail is still 100% with the union. They're not backing this employer. It's another massive vote of no confidence. But given the circumstances, and Dave's explained that, it makes absolute sense, and it's the right thing to do for our nation, for our, the people of this country, and for our members, that we say, and we've made the first move on that this is not the time. Our dispute will still be there, of course it will. We need to sort out our differences. But there needs to be a period of calm, which we've been advocating actually for weeks. There needs to be a truce, if you like, while we deal with this national crisis, which is changing every hour, by the way, and it stands to get worse. There's no question about it, in our opinion, and that's what we've been fighting for in terms of our differences with the employer. This is a vital national public service, Royal Mail. And throughout our history, we have kept going, whether it's been through world wars or whether it's been through the most worst adverse weather, whether it's been through Asian flu and this latest challenge that we've got. Royal Mail has always kept everyone in this country connected, and that's why it is a vital service, and that's why our dispute is all about protecting that. Ironically, this does hold up a mirror actually as to why this is still a massively important public service. For anyone who thought because of the decline in letters it was finished, now look at their viewing us. So, for instance, if I can refer to like Italy, where most people are in lockdown and can't work, the postal service and the telecommunications service are the ones that they keep going, because it's so important that people get the information, people get whatever they need, whether it is, as Dave said, medication or anything else. As this grows, it's going to become increasingly important that Royal Mail and our access to everyone in this country is going to be critical to us coming out the other side of it. So, of course, it's a tough decision for us. Have we backing off from where we are? No, not at all. This is absolutely the right response in the national interest, in our opinion. But we have to say, we will be forced. If Royal Mail don't see common sense here, then we will be forced to protect our people if they continue with the executive action, or they won't respond to this very reasonable request to back off while we work together, if you like, and concentrate on this national crisis. If they don't protect our people fully with all the health and safety that's necessary in order to keep our people safe, if they're keeping this network going, or they continue to pursue this ridiculous putting in unagreed duties and unagreed change into our offices affecting our people, what we need now is the best possible morale and the full vocational sense of purpose that our members have always had. And we've made this move to try and ensure that we can get that, as we've said, but at the same time putting our people's safety first, then serving the people of this country, and then putting our dispute back, and we'll deal with that once we're out of the crisis. We believe that is the right response.
Thank you to both of you. I mean, I'm sure you'll be heartened to know that your judgment's been well received by the members. One of the questions to both of you, I'll put this, is some members are saying like the turnout seems really, really low. I mean, you know, one of the things that's remarkable is Terry's just outlined, we only had a 2-week ballot period. We've had the coronavirus hit us, and we've just delivered a turnout that no other union in the country could match. So, I mean, fair play to our branches and our membership. One of the things I want to touch on with both of you, though, you've announced 2 ballots. There was a third in Passport Force. Do you want to explain a little bit more about that one, Dave?
Yes, so the third ballot, which was the equivalent of the 4 pillars ballot in Parcel Force, that didn't actually meet the threshold. It was just slightly under the 50%, but it was an overwhelming yes vote. Ironically, it was the highest yes vote of all, but it does mean that we haven't met the legal threshold, so that ballot will not be utilised going forward. So that's where we are with that one.
Thank you. One of the things, I mean, I'm going to ask this to both of you. I'll start with you, Terry, if that's all right. And, you know, I think the members seem to have, and we know they would, get where the union's coming from today. But there are people saying, like, you know, basically, to summarise the hundreds, if not thousands of questions we've had here is, you know, I'm behind the union. I like the idea of the emergency service, but in my office, no gloves, no hand sanitation, and no sympathy from my manager for myself or those around me who might be vulnerable to this virus. How can we, start with yourself, Terry, if I can, how can we, you know, trust them by making this sort of leap of faith as we are?
Well, our people have got to be safe. Royal Mail's employees have got to be safe. CW employees have got to be safe. In many ways, you're your own health and safety officer in that sense. I mean, it's no good Royal Mail just saying they're doing the right thing. They've actually got to do it. It's no good putting out messages or you know, joint messages about what they intend to do if in reality in the workplace that's not what's going on. They've got to sort this out, and if they're prepared to work together, obviously we stand ready to help in that. But to be absolutely clear, that's what we're saying. Our members we know can serve this country, but their safety has got to be paramount. We have got to make sure they've got all the equipment. In effect, we're going to be like the 5th emergency service here. So if our people are going to be doing that, much like all our other emergency services, you've got to make sure those people have got the best possible safety protection that they can possibly have. And that's what we'll be insisting on.
Dave, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we're not going to do anything to compromise the safety of our members in what we're putting forward today. And it's important that our members understand that. We're 100% behind the members in the workplace to make sure that the government instructions are followed. And I would say to all of you as individuals, you know, you have to put yourself first in that situation. We'll be supporting you as part of that as you move forward. But if we can get to a point where people have the necessary equipment and can genuinely feel and seem safe, I do think that there are moments here where we need to put in place services that this country will need. And Royal Mail is the only public service that has the logistical infrastructure to do this type of work. So with the proviso of the health and safety of our members first, we are going to be writing to the government, and we're obviously going to be talking to Royal Mail tomorrow about how we can utilise our service, our members, as another emergency service for the UK.
Terry, again, if you both want to pick this up, does this mean, obviously the circumstances are so unprecedented, and so difficult for everyone involved in the country, and people's minds aren't on perhaps strikes, they're on whether loved ones are going to still be around. But does this mean the dispute's over, Terry?
No, not at all. And I have to say, we don't ballot just to go on strike. We are balloting to raise the profile of what's happening to Royal Mail and the fact that this great public service is under threat from Royal Mail management's plans. So that's what our dispute's about. Ironically, this is raising the profile of that in itself, because they're going to need this great public service. It's a vital service. They're not doing this, we're not offering this up because we're offering them some parcel company. We're doing it because we know the social inclusion that we can provide by going to every address in the country 6 days a week. That connectivity is going to be so important to so many people going forward during this crisis. So, it's a responsible, it's the right decision to make. If we don't meet with the right response from Royal Mail, then at least everyone will know it's not because the union didn't try to do the right thing. It's we've got an employer who just won't listen to us and wants to plough on with what they're doing. So, no, I actually think that far from being dead to dispute, and in no way that would be the case. We've already said we'd have a truce, we deal with this crisis, we go back to our dispute. But to raise the profile, which our ballot was all about, with our concern about what's happening to this great postal service of ours and why it needs to be protected, in a way, this couldn't be a better way of proving just how much this is still a most relevant and vital public service that needs protecting going forward.
Dave, did you write that?
Yeah, I would say that, you would hope that Royal Mail would see sense. I think the issue that's going to be between us is the executive action that they've already taken. And some of that executive action is completely unacceptable. So for some of our members who may be in places like Nottingham and Bristol, we want to reassure you that we're making it very clear to Royal Mail that they've got to cease that action. And at the same time, they need to view this as an opportunity to help the country. And one of the ways you do that is not adding to the strain on our own members. It's actually time now to make sure that we deal with the priorities, which are our members' safety, the future of the service and the sustainability of the business. So we're hopeful that the company will see sense on that. It is time to set aside our differences, providing they're willing to do so as well.
Thank you, Terry. I want to say, obviously, you've both touched on the possibility of meeting the company, whether that's tomorrow or in the coming days and weeks. Can you assure the members that we'll keep them fully updated from that?
Yeah, of course, absolutely, and protected. That's what we're doing, and we'll keep representing people in the way that we do. Which you've just had that conversation with Tony. So we're putting everything in place so that we can still respond, but obviously we're going to be affected by the changes that seem to be coming through every hour just as much as everybody else is. So it's about getting through a crisis, and it's about us doing our best through that crisis, and people doing the best by our members. That's what we want. We want this company to do the best by its employees, all work together, make sure everybody's as safe as possible, and make sure we keep the people of the UK connected. It's, it would be, wouldn't it? But it would have been ludicrous if we'd have just sat here and said we're going to ignore something which is unprecedented in peacetime. We're going to ignore that and just give notice for industrial action. We have absolutely, in my opinion, made the right move, and it's up for the business to respond to it. If they don't, then they'll be judged in the court of public opinion, because everybody knows now that we've made that offer.
Dave, we're going to give you a chance for a final message to the members.
Yeah. So look, you've heard the position that we've outlined today. It is the right position for the union, for its membership, for Royal Mail as a company, and perhaps most importantly for all is the country itself. We are in a situation where we can do some good things here, and I think the members will understand that. We will put your safety as our number one priority, and we'll be talking to Royal Mail about that tomorrow. This is a moment where we have to take into account the circumstances that we now find ourselves in, and I'm sure that the members will understand that. And finally, thanks again for returning another great yes vote in those ballots.
Terry, final message?
Yeah, I want to thank all of our reps on behalf of Dave and myself and the whole union, at all levels, because the effort that's been put in to get to our members and try and turn this round in such a short period of time has been fantastic. We know those people are going to be crucial as well going forward. Our reps at local, area, divisional and regional level, they're going to be crucial in doing whatever we can for the country if the company behaves in the right way. So I think that's the best way. Thanks for our members for still supporting the trade union, but big shout out for our reps because they've been absolutely terrific.
Okay, everyone. So I want to say,
We'll keep you informed.
yeah, I just want to say, obviously, thank you to Tony for his contribution. Thank you to Terry Punge, Deputy General Secretary. Thank you to Dave Ward. Also, a special thank you to Rosie, our signer, who's done a great job for us all. But most of all, thank you to our unbelievable members. Your loyalty is humbling. You are the union. Thank you.